Hey guys, so in my free time, probably similar to a lot of you, I like to watch YouTube, and most of the YouTubers I follow, especially the 40k related ones, are like hobby and painting ones. And I've seen a lot of them do kind of like painting challenges, like can I paint an army in 24 hours and things like that. So I figured I would try and do one as well. My one's not going to be that crazy. I'm going to try and paint this Tallyman by the end of the weekend. It is currently Friday night, it's 9:45, and you might think that 2 full days is a very long time to paint one small miniature, but like I'm a pretty normal average person in the sense where like I've got a 9 to 5 job. In the weekends a lot of my time is spent, you know, catching up on chores and life admin and all of that sort of thing. We've actually got a few things on this weekend, so probably only have maybe 2 to 3 hours each day. The other thing is I've stopped using like metallic paints and contrast paints, so I've been trying to do like non-metallic metals and like layering and glazing and all that kind of stuff. So it's just taking me a lot longer to paint in general. So yeah, I'm not actually too sure how much time I'll get to spend on this guy. I'll make sure to kind of like keep tally of it as well. No pun intended. The other thing is, like, I think this miniature is so intimidating. There is just so much detail on the Tallyman. He's, you know, standing on a couple of books. He's got a book behind him. He's got a plasma pistol. He's got like a notepad, which is blank, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do on there. At the moment, his arm is like blue tacked on because I figured it would be best to kind of like do this part separately, just in case I want to put a decal on there, or I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm probably going to keep to my ice theme or ice snow theme that I've got for my Death Guard army, but outside of that I haven't really given it too much thought. I'm thinking about doing a ice resin base, so in terms of kind of like my plan of action, I think I'm going to have to start on the base because resin takes like a full day to set. So kind of like the plan is tomorrow morning, jump into this, work on the base, paint it, do a resin pour, let that set, then start painting the miniature itself. Then on Sunday, I will continue painting the miniature. Hopefully the base is all set, glue it all on, do some finishing touches, and then by the end of Sunday night, hopefully I will have a fully painted Tallyman. Now I believe there is like a little nurgling that comes with this as well. So I'm going to have to dig up the box and see where that is at. But yeah, let's I've just put the baby to sleep, and my wife is having a nap asleep as well. So I might try get like a sneaky like 1 hour or 2 hours in now if I can. But yeah, let's see what we can do. It's been about an hour and I have managed to, I actually cut out a bunch of skulls from the skull box that I have and put them on here. Glued them onto the base, and I cut out the nurgling, gave everything a spray, a Xenophil prime. Not sure why I did a Xenophil, you know, I think just a black prime would have been absolutely fine. But yeah, I think that's pretty good progress for first little session. I'm gonna head to bed now and try get some sleep and smash out my jobs tomorrow morning so I can jump onto this again. Like I said, tomorrow morning I'm gonna focus on getting the base done first. I think that's the most important thing, just timing wise, just because that resin takes so long to dry. And then after that we'll just keep chipping away at this miniature Now the thing I'm the most worried about is probably his face. I really have not painted many faces at all. I think the only one I've done is like Mortarion, and his face is probably a lot bigger than, it's not even his whole face, it's like just his eyes. But the Tallyman's face is so small, and he's got like this weird little like tube thing coming out of his eye, not out of his eye, out of his nose, and it's so small. So I'm not sure, like it's almost at the point where if this was on a tabletop you would not even see it at all. So I'm gonna have to be really careful and just try and paint that tube a particular color. I think I'm gonna have to use something like a Null Oil or a what's the brown one, the Earth Shade, to kind of get some of those details back in the face, because yeah, I don't think I would be able to confidently shade and highlight that. I don't really have many like skin tone color paints as well. I'll have a think about that overnight and see what I want to do. In terms of the parchments, I'm going to try draw like some little like scribbles and stuff on them, and then I think putting that earth shade over them should make them look pretty cool. But yeah, I'll finish doing like all the base colors first. So green for the armor. For the metallic areas, I'll probably base them with a brown and then do like some orange, like yellows and stuff to try and make it look like a brass or like a gold. And yeah, we'll take it from there. All right, I'm gonna head to bed. Have a good night, guys. Good morning. Now this may come as a surprise to you, but it is actually Sunday morning. I got so caught up yesterday in errands and chores, and I was exhausted. I ended up sleeping half of yesterday, to the point where I actually did not get the chance to do any further work on the Tallyman. So I'm very glad that I spent an hour on him on Friday night. So this means that I am going to have to change my plans a bit, because I'm no longer going to be able to do a resin pour, because that takes 24 hours to set. I do have some UV resin left in the closet behind me over there, so I think I can still go for that, and that sets a lot quicker, especially if the sun comes out. I do have a UV torch lying around somewhere. Hopefully it still has batteries in it. Otherwise, in terms of what I did on Friday night, let me just zoom this in really quick. Basically, I primed everything, did a Xenophil spray, and I did a little bit of layering with Wraithbone, basically just on the face and on the parchment areas and some of like the bone areas, and also the books. So you can see I've also done it on his little book here. I'm not sure what I'm going to write on that yet. I also cut out the Nurgling and primed him as well, so at least there is a little bit of work done. My base, I ended up gluing a whole bunch of skulls to it and priming this, so the idea is it's going to be like a frozen lake thing with like all these skulls underneath. So I will be working on this one first, and then yeah, setting this up, getting it ready for the UV resin. Once that's done, I can put it in the windowsill. Hopefully that will dry, and then we can start getting to painting this. It is currently 9:45. I think I've got about a good hour or so before the baby wakes up again. And then the only other thing I've really got on today is this afternoon I do have to pop out to the hobby store to pick up some things off a friend. So a couple of disruptions today, but I will definitely have more time to do this. And I think it's going to be very close. It might have to be a late, if I'm going to finish this, it might have to be a late night. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking and jump straight into this. I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, so I've just spent the last 20 minutes working on the base, and this is what it's looking like at the moment. You can see here, is that in focus? No, there we go. I've painted like blues and turquoises around the base. I put some snow texture on there as well. I'm not sure what that's going to look like once it's got resin on top of it. And then I've painted the edges black as well, because when I last did like a seal for a resin pour, it kind of like poured over the edges as well. So you definitely want to make sure you paint that before you put any resin on it. I think I just took a photo. Other than that, I kind of dry brushed the skulls turquoise, and then some white scar as well, just to try and make it look like it's underwater and frozen. I do have, it feels like a decent amount of UV resin, so I am going to put this in here. I've also got my pigments from my my other resin set, and I'm going to put it in I want it to have a slight blue tinge to it. So I do have a few blue colors in here. I think I'm going to go for this light blue color. Could potentially go for some white as well. We'll see what that looks like. I don't know how well it's going to mix. I do have a little mixing stick here. And then the other thing I'm going to do before I pour all of this and mix it up, I do have some plastic sheet here and some masking tape. Now I do have a black light, which I've put, oh, here it is. I potentially don't need to seal it, but the reason why I want to do it is just to try and create that like flat edge around it. Otherwise it's going to be like a kind of like a curved soft edge. So yeah, let's just jump into this and see what happens. Okay, I've just finished mixing up some resin and putting it in here. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too sure what this is gonna look like. I didn't quite make enough of the colored one inside the cup here, and then so I topped it up with a bit more of this clear stuff, but the clear stuff doesn't seem to be mixing too well with the colored resin that I have in here. So no doubt it's going to have quite an interesting effect. I'm just a little bit worried that this isn't level as well. Unfortunately, I can't really see the base, so I'm not sure how flat this is. Once this is set, I can use like a crafting knife to like trim down the edges and that sort of thing, so it should be all right. Yeah, I'm gonna put this in the windowsill in the sun. Sorry, just realized I'm out of focus a bit, and let this set. And yeah, hopefully nothing kind of like seeps through the bottom. I'm just gonna put a little bit of black light on this just to try and make it set a little bit quicker. This UV resin sets so quickly. If you put it in the sun, it'll be done in like 10 minutes or so. So I'll probably take a look at this in about half an hour. Okay, I've just packed up all of the resin stuff. One thing I will say is UV resin is really, really toxic. So if you are using it, I would recommend not doing it in a small office space like this. I've only just opened the window now. You should probably wear a mask too if you're gonna do it. But anyways, that is sitting in the sun. I'll let it sit for a while. Now I am going to start on the Tallyman himself. The biggest thing I'm dreading about this is the face. I really have no idea what to do with that. In terms of the armor and stuff, I'm going to stick to kind of like a Death Guard green kind of scheme, and I think I mentioned at the start I'm going to try to do non-metallic metallic for some of his metallic areas, so that is also going to be quite challenging. The first thing I'm going to do is undercoat a lot of his like base armor areas with just with like a brown color. I've started using that to base the armor, and I think it looks alright. And it is now, what is it? It's 10:30, so I've spent all up, I think I've spent almost 2 hours on this, an hour 45.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route.
Okay, so I've just finished putting a base coat of this brown color all over my Tallyman. So he's going to be nice and ready to, once he dries properly, I'll get some, start putting some greens on him. And I pretty much used brown to base coat everything, the armor and the wood and the metallic areas, because I will be using that as a basis for kind of like the non-metallic as well. Now I've also gone and grabbed my base from the windowsill. I believe it's been sitting out there for about 20 minutes, half an hour. The blue tack is very melted, which is a good sign, right? It means it was hot over there. I'm gonna have to take this glove off. Should probably do a little test. Okay, it does sound pretty hard. Let's get this blue tack off. It doesn't look like there's been any leakage underneath as well, which is great. UV resin I feel is a lot easier, or a lot safer to work with in that sense, where you don't get as many spills, especially if you're putting it in the sunlight like straight away. Oh my god, this blue tack. This is kind of like the first time I've ever put like blue tack in the sun, I think. Cool, that is all of the blue tack off. Let's try and get some of this tape off now. I do have my UV torch handy here, so if it does start spilling, I can just, you know, put it on straight away and stop it. Okay. I will just go around the edge because I have a feeling the inside where the bottom part of this base, the black area, probably hasn't seen that much sunlight. Oh no, there is a little bit of a gap, unfortunately. Okay, it looks like it was a little lopsided. I'm just gonna put this UV light on it a little bit and then I'll show you guys. Yeah, I can feel it is a little bit sticky around the edges, so kind of like where the resin fell into the gaps around the plastic area, that's where it seems like it hasn't set properly yet. Yeah, unfortunately it was really lopsided. But that's alright. I should be able to work with this alright. I'll use a knife. I'll probably put this back in the sun again just for a little bit. I say that the sun has kind of disappeared on me already. And it does have a bit of a lip, which is expected when you're using this stuff. So I will grab the knife and also just cut off that little bit of lip. Yeah, let me just do that quickly and then I'll zoom in and show you guys what this looks like. Okay, so let me zoom in. You can see this is kind of how it's looking at the moment. From the top down, I think it looks really cool. You can kind of see on this side, it is very, very dense, that color. It's not transparent at all, whereas on this side, it's quite transparent. This side is probably where all of the clear resin fell and all of the colored stuff I put in the back here. So I think the UV resin doesn't really mix as well with the pigments as the standard stuff. Now there is still a bit of a lip around the edges and there's also a bit of a gap in here, which is really annoying. So I am going to use a little bit more just to top off, kind of like smooth out the top, just to try to get rid of that lip, and then I will put it back in the sun. But yeah, after that I will take a bit of a break and I will see you guys later on. Hey guys, it is now 6:30 on Sunday, and I have managed to achieve what some people would have achieved in like an hour or two. But he is now done. Here is my brand new Tallyman. I'll put some close-ups on the screen so you guys can get a better look at it. I'm really happy with how he turned out. There were a couple of slip-ups with the base. There's a huge gap of resin here, which you probably can't see. Like, I could potentially fill it up with a bit more UV resin and make it look a little bit better, but to be honest, like when this is sitting on the table, nobody's going to notice, so I'm not too fussed. Now, I did try do non-metallic, and I have to say that I still have a lot of work to do in that sense. Oh, I can see my little one is waking up behind me. To be honest, I don't really understand the fundamentals of it. I'm kind of just like playing around with different colors and just trying to see what happens and see what works, and it looks not amazing, if I'm going to be honest, but I feel like I'm slowly learning little by little, and I'm really enjoying trying out these new techniques and not just like defaulting to like metallic paints and contrast paints every time. Not that there's anything wrong with that at all, but I feel like once I really kind of nail that, I will become a much better painter, right? But yeah, the Tallyman, geez, there are so many like small details on here. He's got books, he's got his little slab thing, which I'll put a picture up. I wrote a little note: 2d6 7 or greater equals, oh my god, I'm so stupid, I just realized I put this around the wrong way. I wanted it to be 7 or greater equals 1 extra CP, but I think I've put the symbol around the wrong way, so it's like 7 or less equals 1 CP. This is why he never rolls CP. I can't even get it right. But yeah, he's got like a little plasma gun in the back, which I think that kind of looks okay with the non-metallic. Otherwise, the armor plating I'm happy with. It really is just like the trim, which I really just need to get better at. But overall, was a very fun little weekend project, and I'm glad I kind of like set myself the challenge of doing this. I think today I spent about maybe like 4 hours painting him, so it really took a lot out of me, because that's like 4 hours of just concentrating and painting like really small detail. So I don't know how some of these other YouTubers are painting like massive armies within 24 hours. I feel like I just like physically or mentally just could not cope that at all. But yeah, the reason why I'm kind of glad I did this is, I've owned this for, I'm pretty sure, over a year now, and he has been grey this whole time. And it's just one of those things where I find that if I don't really like commit and set aside specific time to do something, then I just never end up doing it, which is why I've still got a massive pile of shame. So I'm really glad that I did this, and I now have a fully painted Tallyman who is going to be on the table. How cool, right? Oh, the only last thing I need to do is glue a magnet on the bottom of here, and then he will be 100% done. But yeah, looking at my pile of shame, I'm just trying to think what I should paint next. I've been using Chaos Spawn quite a lot lately, so maybe I'll do them. I do have Rodigus, which I also need to magnetize before I paint, and my bloat drones, I haven't finished any of them yet, so even my Death Shroud, I've still got a little bit to do. So maybe in future I will challenge myself again to smash out something over a weekend. The Tallyman was my MVP in my last battle report. He did so well. He generated 4 CP for me, so it definitely felt like the right time to paint him. So maybe that's how I'll tackle it, like moving forward. If I have like an MVP of a match and they aren't painted, that's probably the best reason to paint them, right? Now, if you've made it this far into the video, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys around.